Hello, everybody, and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts with your hosts, us, Ariel, and
Raylene/Ruben in the house.
On our 200th episode!
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I wish we had sound effects, fireworks.
I'm sure we do. CJ, slap something in there. CJ, slap something in there.
I love it.
Okay. We have been eagerly anticipating this episode for, I think, 19 weeks because...
It does sound crazy when you say it like that.
Yeah,
but we started concocting plans a long time ago, and then I started counting down every single week.
Yes.
I was like, Ariel,
it was
only
so
15
funny.
more weeks until
It was so funny. And we didn't, really kick into action until, maybe 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But, you started counting down, and which was great because we were like, no, we know that the time is coming, and we want to make this episode a lot of fun.
Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts, so we had to get started early.
There are a lot of moving parts. Yes, we have multiple fun things happening today. This is a great episode, guys. We've both been so excited, texting, we're gonna do it, we're gonna record, it's gonna be so much fun.
I love it.
Yeah, so we're gonna start off with a little bit of housekeeping, just talking about reaching 200 episodes.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna interview Raylene about 200 episodes. We're gonna open presents, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
And the presents have a whole theme.
Yep.
We read a book, a secret book. A book that Raylene gave me, a book that I gave Raylene. We read in secret. Mm-hmm. We have vlogs to share with you.
Yep.
And we even did a buddy read, all in preparation for this. As if that wasn't enough, okay? We also asked our patrons to send us voice clips with questions to do a Q&A segment.
Yes, I'm so excited.
So we have so much to get through. Lots of fun is going to be had. Let's start off with this housekeeping. This is important stuff. We are at episode 200, and we need to start by thanking some people.
Yeah,
seriously. I want to do this at the top so that everyone hears it, So first of all, I want to thank CJ. My brother, my best friend. He edits the podcast, and he's great.
He's a superstar.
He is a superstar. He is a superstar because often we'll text him last minute and we'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Can you do this? Can you add this? Can you change that? And he always does. But not only that, this year we pivoted to doing video episodes. And if you do any sort of video work, you'll know video is so much more work to juggle. And he has taken it like a champ. We have gotten so many fantastic comments from people who are loving the videos. Mm-hmm. That's fully on CJ. That is fully
we just show up. He does the
We
hard
just
work.
show up and hit record. He's editing everything. Yeah. So huge thank you to CJ. CJ, we love you so much. And I love that you edit the podcast and you're never allowed to leave.
Nope.
No one else can do
sorry.
it. Next up, we have to thank Kaylee. Kaylee Hyde, ladies and gentlemen.
Keeps the show
coolest name. She might be my friend with the coolest name. Kaylee Hyde. Come on.
That's a good one.
Come on. That's awesome. Kaylee runs our Instagram. And when I say runs our Instagram, I mean is a superstar of our Instagram. Yet again, every week, Raylene and I take our photos and we'll each make a reel, but we hand that all over to Kaylee. She's the one who's interacting with your guys' posts a lot of the time. She's sharing stuff from the community. That is such a community hub for us, and it would not be possible without Kaylee. And we also know, she also sees messages that you guys want us to see, and then she sends them to us.
Yeah.
So she's integral to running that entire machine. We are so grateful to Kaylee, another person who's not allowed to leave.
Yeah.
To 200 more!
All right, our team works so well the way it is. I think if anything ever
It's
changed,
beautiful.
I'd lose my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Just a little.
That's
just
not
enough. So we're so grateful to our team. We're so lucky. This machine is running beautifully because of the team. So thank you so much to the team. Next up, we have to thank our patrons.
Hell yeah.
As you guys know, because you would have noticed, we don't have ads on our podcast.
Yeah.
I think maybe we did one once.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think we tried doing it once. And we were like, that doesn't feel like the tone of our show.
I don't want to do
we
that.
love that it is backed by our listeners, for our listeners, by our listeners. It's like Arthur. It's like PBS. It's made possible by viewers like you.
Exactly.
So the Patreon model has always been, in my opinion, one of the coolest parts of being a content creator. Basically, it means that the people that can pay and make it possible for all the people that can't pay or can't always pay.
Totally.
Which is so, so beautiful. And we have so much fun with our patrons. We do live shows and we upload reading vlogs every month. And so we're always putting a lot of effort into our Patreon, but we're just so grateful for all the patrons that show up and sign up and support the podcast, because it, like, literally none of this would have been possible without the patrons.
Yeah, seriously.
Raylene this year got a new camera. That was because we wanted to do video episodes. That was because of the Patreon.
Yeah, 100%.
Or, you know, we realized that the scheduling of this, because of the podcast was growing, it was becoming more and more demanding. Raylene was able to take a day of her work schedule and move around her whole literal work schedule.
It's true.
And that was only because of the patrons. So we're so grateful to you all. And that also goes out to everyone who's just been a patron for 1 month, because that still counts, right? That's still being a patron, being a dust jacket. And to everyone who's ever bought merch and stuff. So thank you all so much. I feel like I just did my Academy Awards
That was
speech.
beautiful. Beautiful. I would also say big shout out to our gold foil patrons, who are kind of like the tier of people who have given us a little extra, and we really appreciate
above and beyond.
That. Yeah, above and beyond. And people who like continue to stay on that tier just boggles my mind. I'm like, you guys are my heroes.
The little sparkle, the little gold foil dust right on top. Okay, three more things I want to mention real quick here. Number one, we had a situation arise at our merch warehouse. Basically, we got stickers, people. We got a lot of stickers. So as you guys know, we have a bookmark subscription club. And what that means is you get 2 bookmarks and 2 stickers every quarter of the year made by artists. They're beautiful, but I guess we accidentally ordered too many stickers. Yeah. And last year's stickers have just been sitting in the warehouse. And so we've put together a bundle. If you saw the stickers last year, or if you would love some very adorable, cute stickers, they're there now. So that is a shout out if you want to buy some stickers. Second thing. This is so exciting. This is basically a teaser. We're just like teasing something.
Things in the works.
Because the videos have been doing so well, your response to them has been amazing. We've been having so much fun doing it. We decided we are going to commit. We are going to invest in the videos. And so we've been working, and we'll reveal all this as it comes, but we've been working with one of our favorite artists. And we won't say anything more than that, but she is a Books Unbound, like, alumni.
Exactly.
We've been working with an artist who is helping us do a total brand refresh. Our videos are going to have animations. Oh my God. Our intro sequence is going to be beautiful. The background is going to be refreshed. Everything is going up in the world. And we didn't think about it until, like, if we'd thought about it a couple months earlier, we could have aligned it better with episode 200. But we're like, just the fact that it is in the works, it's in the middle of happening. And Raylene, you can attest to it being the most beautiful stuff we've ever seen.
So beautiful, you guys. So beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
The final thing I needed to talk about is our goal.
Oh, God.
So when we first started this podcast in October 2019,
dear God,
we set up our Patreon. And we set a goal that we thought was a joke. It was, if we ever reach $5,000 a month of support, we will dye our hair peach.
Yep.
We'll go peach. Which means, I guess that means we'll go blonde and then dye it peach,
go blonde, right? And then peach.
Peach it up. We did not think this would happen. But
it still hasn't happened. Luckily.
It still has not happened. But we are at 78% of our way there. And we did the maths just before recording. We would need 216 new people to sign up. In some ways, that's a lot of people. Yeah. In other ways, it's not.
In other ways, that's something that could happen very quickly.
And it only has to happen. Yeah. It only has to happen once.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't have to stay
if
at
we ever
5,000.
hit that number.
If we ever hit that number,
locks it in.
It locks it in, and we have to dye our hair peach. So first of all, we knew that people were asking about an update about this because Patreon recently removed that thing from the profile. So you just weirdly, like you can't see us tracking that goal anymore for whatever reason. So we wanted to let you know. But also in celebration of 200, we were like, if you were thinking of signing up and you wanted us to dye our hair peach. Which is so funny and horrifying, but like would also be fun. I was just saying to Raylene, I was like, that's not the summer aesthetic I was imagining. Yeah. But I could lean into that.
It could still be really cute. I would just have to like completely change my wardrobe, I think. If my hair was pink, I wouldn't be able to wear colors that don't go with that, you know? I've never thought about that because my hair is always dark. So that would be something to think about. How long do you think we would have after hitting that goal? Like, what's our timeline that we have to dye our hair peach in?
I think within a month. I think within the month I think it would
take multiple sessions to get to the right color, right? Like, I think that's the other thing. It's not just going to happen overnight.
Good God.
So that's dedication to the pod right there.
That's dedication to the pod. And every whiff of bleach I get, I'll think of you, my dear patrons.
Yeah, exactly. You did this to us.
I've said for a while now that I really see myself dyeing my hair a crazy color one more time in my life. Yeah. I don't see myself really doing it in my like 30s and 40s.
I agree with that.
Obviously, that could change. Yeah. That could change. I'm not saying, and I do know people who are in those ages and have colored hair. Like, I think it's cool. But I just personally am like, I did it in my mid-20s. I thought it was fun. Yeah. Then I've been out of it, and I'm like, I feel like I have one more go in me. I'll do it one more time. Yeah. And then I'll like go back to brown forever. Right. So this would be the last time I ever do it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's been a while since I've dyed my hair crazy colors too. I want to say like maybe like 7 years ago, my hair was like purple and blue and green, which I really liked. Yeah. But I'm like, am I too far removed from that person? I don't know. It was a different life.
How much do you listen to Paramore? That's the real question.
0% of the time. Yeah.
Okay, so there's our housekeeping and our notices and our thanks, and we really do mean them all. We're so excited to be here at episode 200. Yeah. But that brings us to our next section. I have a few interview questions to ask Raylene. I did this at episode 100.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was the last time I was visiting you. That was the thing. Oh my God. Episode 100 somehow worked out with the time that we were spending together. We were together for a week and it just perfectly worked out. So that's crazy. Sorry we're not reunited for this episode, people. We didn't plan for that.
Okay. I only have 4 questions. Okay. My first question, very simple. How do you feel about reaching episode 200?
I can't believe that we've done it. And like mostly I can't understand how that much time has passed.
It's so true.
It's kind of the thing, because if you think about it, 200 episodes, if we did one every single week, there's roughly 50 weeks in a year. That means we've been doing this for like 4 years now.
4 years.
Which is just crazy.
It's nuts.
It's crazy. Which it just feels like it's all gone by in a blink. And we've like gone through so much in the time since we started this podcast. Like
you got engaged, married, bought a house, got a cat, got a new job. I bought a house. A whole pandemic happened in the middle there. Times. Yeah, same. Oh my God.
It's been a crazy 4 years, but it's cool that we have a place to track it as well, which I think is just awesome.
Yeah.
I love this little time capsule we've got. And it's just been fun spending 200 hours talking to you.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. All right. My next question. What percentage of people in your real life know about the pod?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah. Because I'm basically curious, like, is this something you tell people about? Or is this like a secret life for you?
That is a great question. Percentage of people in my life. Okay, well, here's the thing. I work with a lot of people. I don't talk to all of them. So let's just imagine it's the 7 people that I interact with the most at work. I've probably told 5 of them.
Okay.
Like most of the people I work with know. It just doesn't come up very often. But every now and then people will be like, what do you do on Mondays? And I'll be like, well, let me tell you. And so then I let people know. So I would say probably like 86% of the people in my life probably do know. Like I'm trying to think of people who don't know, and I don't think that there's anyone I can think off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there are people. So yeah, I would estimate 86%. Most people know.
I love that.
That's an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I was like, is she keeping a secret? Does she
No,
not want people
I feel
to know
like
about it?
a couple of years ago it might have been slightly more secret, but
yeah.
now it just everybody knows because I'm so proud of the podcast. Like I'm not afraid to tell people about it because it's not just like a weird little thing that I do in a basement with just you. Like, you know, it's a cool thing that we do and it's a community and like it's awesome. I love the podcast.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question. How do you think that the podcast has affected the way you read?
Ooh. That's a great question.
I don't know if you could say no, it hasn't. Like, it might not have.
Yeah, I feel like the podcast specifically hasn't changed the way I read. I feel like starting, like, BookTube changed the way I read. Yeah. And just, like, getting older changed the way I read. Like, we've both stopped reading YA, and I think that was just a natural progression of my reading. I don't think that any specific medium did that. I would say, I don't know, I feel like it's also just naturally happened, like that we started reading like lots of Japanese translated fiction. That kind of just happened. I don't think it was because of the podcast. That's just kind of where we're at now. So yeah, I would say I don't think the podcast has changed me. I mean, I do have a lot of cat books now. I don't know why that happened or how that started, but I think it started during the podcast. So maybe that.
Definitely.
Maybe that.
I would say that the only thing I can think of is that I become maniacal about reading on Sundays now because I want to finish my book in time for Monday recording.
That's true. I can kind of relate to that. As soon as Friday rolls around, I'm like, I should try and start reading this book.
Or I need to finish this because what else am I going to talk about on the podcast?
No, that's fair.
Yeah, so I do feel a little bit of pressure to like read a book a week.
Right.
Which does not happen, but I feel the pressure anyways.
Yeah, understood.
Okay, the final question is, what is your favorite merch item that we've ever made?
Yellow ball cap.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I love it, and I don't have one, which is the funniest thing. It's my favorite item, but I don't own one.
God, we gotta get you one.
We gotta get me one. I don't know why I haven't pushed harder for that.
Every time we try and order it for Raylene, it just doesn't end up.
But I love a cute ball cap, and I just think that yellow is so cute and
it's so
would look really nice with my hair. So I really want that.
Yeah. My mom wears it every day in the summertime. She's like, this is my summer cap when she walks the dog.
That is so cute.
And I'm just like, that's just the cutest thing I ever saw.
I love that. I can totally picture that.
All right. Well, that was my interview for Raylene at episode 200. A couple thoughts on the pod, a few moments to reflect.
Beautiful.
It is now time to open a present. When I tell you that this package has been burning a hole in my desk drawer for months.
I was gonna say,
maybe weeks.
The funniest thing about this whole present situation is you can really see the difference in our personalities. Ariel has had that, just like months, right? Like it's actually been a couple of months. Because I was so scared that it wouldn't, not that it wouldn't get to you in time, but that I wouldn't finish what it was in time. Because there's like, there's something special in there made by Ruben. And then this package here from Ariel, I got a few days ago. Which was scary. It was scary.
I sent the express post quick mail less than a week before today.
I was so scared about that.
I was like,
it arrived.
It'll get there.
So it's all good.
Get there.
I love
it. Don't work there.
Quiet confidence. You're like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
No, yeah, don't worry. Yeah, because I remember I talked to you. I was like, all right, well, the truth is I haven't sent it yet, so I'll send it tomorrow. And you basically head in your hands were just like...
It was a Monday. It was last Monday that you said this. I was like, you're going to send it tomorrow, not today. It's all good though. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that I didn't have it for the past few months because I can only imagine the temptation that you must have felt having that in your possession for that long.
I tucked it into a drawer because I had it on my desk for like a week and I just kept side-eyeing it. I was like, God, I could just open it. No, put it in a drawer. Don't look at it.
Hide it.
Okay, but do you want to tell everyone what our kind of prompt was for this?
Yes. Okay, let's see if I can remember. Take it back super far. So what we kind of decided was we wanted to give each other one book and one item. And the theme was very general, very, weird. We just said the past 100 episodes. The theme is the past 100 episodes. So that could mean a lot of things. It could mean anything. So when I was picking what I wanted to gift to you for the book and the item, I kind of just like went through, like I just looked at the past 100 episodes we've put out.
That's what I did.
And was like looking at the titles and I was like, okay, all right, what was the predominant theme here? And I I came up with something that I think is really nice. So
okay, well, maybe I should start it off then.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Live opening on the pod.
Yeah, it would be fun if you could figure out what my theme is, but I can't remember. I wrote you a note, but I can't remember what I wrote on it.
Okay, let's see what I've got in here. Okay, is there a package in a package?
There might be.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Okay. I'll start. Should I start with the note, the book, or the item? I can
start with the note. Start with the note if you can get it out.
I can feel all three in here. Okay. I've got a beautiful blue letter. It says Ariel on it. There's a heart.
Okay, I think I got you a nice card. I honestly can't remember. It's been so long since I sent it.
Oh my god! There are all these adorable dolphins.
What does it say on it again? Cute. I think it was something kind of funny.
It just says ee.
Oh, I thought it. Never mind. Maybe it's on the inside.
Please enjoy this all-purpose greeting card.
That's what it was. Okay. I was looking for a card that was fairly blank.
Dear Ariel, happy 200th episode.
Happy 20th anniversary, pal.
This is crazy. I'm so lucky to call you my friend and to get to hang out with you every week and talk about books. 200 episodes down, only 2,659 to go. That's the number of weeks until we're 80. Lol. Oh, that's to many more buddy reads. Love, Raylene. Oh, that's perfect. I love that. Okay, beautiful. I'll start with the book.
Okay.
Oh my god. In Limbo by Deb J.J. Lee. So, a stunning debut graphic memoir that explores the intersection of mental health and the Korean American diaspora, it says. Raylene, this looks unbelievably stunning.
And Ariel, do you want to know the best part?
Yeah?
I bought a copy for myself, too, and we're going to buddy read it. Yeah.
Damn it.
Isn't that thoughtful? Because the theme that I picked for this book, something I noticed over the past 100 episodes is that we, mostly me, but we kind of like betrayed each other and performed some revenge on each other quite a lot through the past 100 episodes. Yeah. And we also, every time we read a graphic novel together, we had a great time.
It's so true.
So I decided we would bury the hatchet. No more revenge, just like have a good time reading a graphic novel together. So
damn it. That's beautiful.
It's about friendship. It's all about friendship. And it was just one of the most beautiful looking graphic novels I've seen in a long time. So
no kidding. So it says, and this is important, you wrote inside the book.
Yeah.
You wrote, Ariel, I promise not to read this without you. Raylene 2023.
Adorable.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm so excited for us to do a FaceTime call and read this together.
And it's a nice, like, chunky one, too. It's not like
It's good
It's not too short, so we'll be able to spend some quality time together.
You also included this sticker.
I forgot I put that in there. That was a joke.
Of Tom Nook and Timmy or Tommy, and it just says the Nooks, but they're like Breaking Bad.
They're so scary. It's one of the most heinous stickers I've ever seen, so I just had to give it to you.
That is perfect. I've never heard of this one, really, and I haven't seen
it. Yeah, neither had I. I did a lot of digging because I wanted to find something that sounded not only like something we would both really love, but also was new, and I would know, like I knew that you wouldn't accidentally buy it for yourself. Or at least I was pretty confident that you wouldn't. I had to dig pretty far to find that one.
I was wondering, there was such a small percentage chance of this, but I was wondering, what if we bought each other the same book?
I've been thinking that for weeks.
Yeah.
Like, how funny would that be?
Funny and also a little sad.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pulling out the gift. Oh my god. Oh my god. I believe this to be a crocheted case for my e-reader.
It is indeed. So that was another theme. The week before Ariel hauled her little green Kobo case, I was making that. And
it smells good.
Oh, does it?
Is that just you?
That must just be me. That's just my natural odor.
That's just me enjoying your pheromones.
But yeah, I was actually, I knitted that. It's not crochet, but good guess.
Sorry.
Yeah, I knitted that, and I was like, I need to make Ariel something for her little Kobo. This would be so perfect.
Yes.
But then, of course, you bought yourself a case, so hopefully it fits in there. I just kind of guessed.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I literally don't know where I put it right now, but in my B-roll footage, I'll put in it slipping beautifully in there because I'm sure it'll fit. and I'll send you a photo. But it is so pretty. It's also very me colors.
Yes, that was the other thing. But that isn't the only thing that I got for you. There might be something.
I've got something here as well.
Open up the
means
note.
you cheated.
No, because you knew about the Kobo case. You guessed. And so I told you I was going to get you something else.
Basically, when I told Raylene about the case, I was like, uh-oh, I think I upset her. What did I do? And I was like, oh, I think she made me a case.
Yeah.
And then I was like, did you make me a case? And you're like, yes.
Yeah. It's okay. I added to the theme of friendship with this one.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you sent me some Nintendo eShop dollars, a gift card, and it says, it has been decreed on this adorable ghost stationery, very Sheets-like. It has been decreed that you must use these funds to purchase that game known as Button City, so that we may enjoy it together as friends. I hope you don't own it already. I have never even heard of it.
Look it up. You've got to look it up now before we continue. It's so cute. You're going to love it.
Button City. Oh my god. I want to be this little fox.
Right?
No, the bunny. Oh my god, wait, Raylene, what is it? It's so cute.
It's just like, I don't know. I haven't played it yet. I bought it for myself. And it's just like you play, I don't even know if you play as that little fox, but the art style is very cute. Kind of reminded me of other games that you've played.
Yeah.
And I looked up things that are like Animal Crossing, things that are like unboxing, like the games that you've been playing, and it's somewhere in between all of those things. Like it's kind of like the art style kind of looks like A Short Hike a little bit, or like Haven Park, but it's got like aesthetic like 90s colors.
Yes.
So it's really cool.
So is it co-op or is it just we'll play?
I think it's single player. We're just gonna have to play it.
Yeah.
Together.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Actually, very genuinely, this is kind of exactly what I want for summer. Like, I want to play some fun video games. I want to read more graphic novels. So this is perfect. And even though I have a case, this is a better case.
It's a special. Okay? It could be your winter case for your Kobo. It needs a sweater.
I have seasons. That's just so beautiful. Thank you, Raylene.
You're welcome.
All right. Slice that bag open, Ray. I'm really hoping the thing I got you is fine.
I'm sure it will be just fine. I got out my scissors. Okay. I'm not going to try and do this on camera. It's too hard. Okay. It's been sliced. Okay.
Okay.
What do I start with? I feel a package. That's a book. Oh, you've wrapped both things. Should I open the book or the little package first?
Actually, yeah. Pull everything out because you're right. I did wrap it all individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and there is a little card.
Okay, cool. Start with the card. So
this card is very cute. For Raylene at 200 EPs is what it says. It's very tiny. I love how small this is.
I know, it's little.
It's got cute washi tape on it. A classic. Oh, this is so cute. What a cute little card. Oh my gosh. It's like a little oval with gold stuff on it and a flower. Wow, you wrote so much. Okay.
I know. Oops.
Happy 200th episode. Wow. When we started recording the podcast, you were 24. Can you believe that? We're turning 29 this year. How dare you, first of all. We're in our 4th year of podcasting, and I feel like we're in a sweet spot. How can I ever get sick of talking about our reading with my best pal? Here's to 200 more. That's what I think. And there's more over here. I still sometimes think of the pod as a little thing on the side, but no, 200 EPs, 4 years. Every week we sit down to make a good show, to make people laugh, to think about books. That was the end of a sentence. How lucky are we? I feel pretty lucky. Thanks for saying yes when I asked you to be my co-host all those years ago and for building this beautiful project with me. I love you, Ariel 2023. Oh, that's so cute. That's so nice. I'm going to savor that little card. It will live in this book forever. Okay. Book or object?
Book.
Okay. Okay. When the package arrived, I was like, it's so small. What did she send me that's so tiny? And like the book is really tiny. So that is extremely exciting to me.
I know.
We love ourselves a tiny book.
I'm so excited about this.
Ooh, what is it going to be? Okay. It's a book called Two Old Women, which I love. That's a great start. An Alaska Legend of Betrayal, Courage, and Survival by Velma Wallace. And it says 20th anniversary edition as well. So it's like a classic, kind of. Maybe not classic, but let's see. On the back it says, based on an Athabascan Indian legend passed along for many generations from mothers to daughters of the upper Yukon River Valley in Alaska, this is the suspenseful, shocking, ultimately inspirational tale of two old women abandoned by their tribe during a brutal winter famine.
That's you and me.
This sounds so cool. Okay, I'm just flipping through
cool,
it.
Right?
It also has like very large font, which is nice.
Yes.
And it has photos.
Images.
Oh, this is super cool. Look at this art. Wow. I love
it. And there's a little drawing at the beginning of the two old ladies in their hut.
Oh my goodness.
And I just wrote next to it, "That's us."
That's us. You also wrote, "To us in 60 years, two old women on a porch laughing and reading." That's so cute.
My inspiration for it, like from the past 100 episodes, was that episode where we talked about how we want to like be doing the podcast until we're old ladies.
I love it.
I know.
And I've never even heard of this. This is the best type of gift. Like,
I know, it's very surprising, right? Yeah. Like same with my graphic novel. I found this book and I was like, that is perfect. I like that it's short, that it's like kind of a memoir-y, non-fiction-y like legend. I was like, I think Raylene will like this.
Absolutely.
I feel like you might like it. Who knows?
I think I will. And it's such a cute edition. Like, I really love it. It's very petite. Like, it's not very tall.
So pretty.
And I was about to hold it up next to a secret book that you don't know anything about yet and compare the size, but that would have been unfortunate.
I also felt like if you didn't like it, it's so short with giant text that you won't spend that much time reading.
It's true. For context, people, it's 127 pages. And the font is huge. Like, it almost looks like a middle grade book, the way that the font is and stuff. Well, that's perfect. Yeah. I love that so much. Okay.
Sweet.
And now I'm going to open my little item.
Oh boy, this thing.
Let's see what we got.
I don't know why I feel anxious.
And I'm so curious because you asked me a question about this item, like to help figure something out, and it made me very curious as to what the hell it could possibly be.
Do you have any guesses?
Okay, what do we have?
Well, you've already seen it.
Oh, okay, what do we have here? Oh, Ariel, that's so cute. It's a little like book stamp with my name on it. And I made you. Yes. I love that. I saw the archival ink and I was immediately taken back to being a receptionist. I had one thing exactly like this at my office job. I immediately knew what it was.
So I love ex libris stamps. Those are like the stamps you use to like be like, this book is mine or whatever, like, or this book belongs to. And so the words for that is ex libris. But I did catus ex libris, which is the Latin word for cat.
Oh my god.
And then I designed the little stamp and then carved it. And that's why I asked you what name you want to use, because I was like, it has to have your correct name.
So you designed this whole thing?
Yeah, I drew it.
Oh,
I drew it.
God.
I cut it. I carved it. I sanded the wood.
What the heck?
I did everything.
Are you serious? That's insanely cool. What the hell?
Isn't that so pretty? I'm like really, really happy with how it came out. And basically I was like, I'm not going to expect Raylene to stamp all of her books.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to, it could be cute to stamp all of your cat books because they're part of a collection.
Definitely, at the very least. And so one day when I die and my cat books are being sold off to whoever wants them, they'll know where they came from.
Exactly.
That's genius. I'm definitely going to do that.
So the reason that the ink pad is in a Ziploc bag is because, like, the last thing you do when you make a stamp is you have to stamp the top of the wood so that you can then know what that stamp is. But I was like, I don't have my own ink pad. I'm going to have to use the one I bought for Raylene. So I had to open your ink pad, use it to stamp it. And then I was like, I guess I'll put it in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, it's safe now. That's what I want. It's funny. This is reminiscent of that time I sent you a Ziploc full of tea bags.
Yes! Oh my god. Yep. Yes, coming in clutch. That's so funny.
Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you so much. I was so confused because you asked me what name I would want if I were to get something engraved. And I was like, is she getting me a watch? Like, what is this? I was so confused. But this is perfect. This is perfect. I love it.
I'm glad that you like it. It was really fun to make. I love carving rubber. It's so satisfying.
I bet. Because it just
it's just like... Although it's tough with like letters because like
I don't understand
if you do a little mistake it won't look like a letter anymore. So anyways, I had a lot of fun making it and I'm glad that you like it.
Oh,
and
I love it. I've never had something so like personalized and cool.
Isn't that so custom?
It's nobody else will ever have something like that.
You'll have to send me a photo when you stamp a book because I want to see.
I'm gonna go stamp a book as soon as we're done here. I'm excited.
That's so funny too that you had the same ink when you were a receptionist.
Yeah.
Something about that makes me laugh.
It is pretty hilarious. Like it's exact same brand. Same.
I got it at Michael's.
There you go. That all makes sense.
Well, now that we've given each other books, let's talk about reading books we've already given each other in the past.
Oh God.
Raylene and I were scheming for this episode, and we were like, we should like read something for the episode. Like we should have some sort of an assigned reading activity.
Absolutely.
What could be fun? And we were like, what if we read a book that we've given each other in the past as a way to sort of like finally get to them, but also just celebrate the friendship and the pod, blah, blah, blah. So we then decided to take it one step farther and make reading vlogs about them. So we're going to insert those into the episode, but of course they're reading vlogs. It's a visual experience, but it's also an audio experience. So if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, you'll still have fun. So Raylene, how about you start us off? Okay. What did you read? And I'm ready to watch your vlog.
Yeah,
I'm so curious.
This was so fun because when I went to my shelves, like in my head, I was like, oh, there's maybe like 4 books that I have to pick from. I had like 8 options because you've sent me a lot of books and I have read a bunch of them, but somehow there's just so many.
That's so funny.
So I decided to go with, and this was kind of during Mashed Potato May as well, so I wanted to double it up with a book that I found to be a mashed potato book. And so I finally read Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki
that's
Tsujimura.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
All right, inserting vlog here.
So I'm at the beginning of my secret read number 1. I am reading Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura, and I'm now about 50 to 60 pages into this right now, and I am loving it. This book is about a young girl named Kokoro who is in grade 7. She has been bullied and is now suffering from, depression and anxiety from that, and she stops going to school. And then one day when she's at home alone, her mirror starts to glow and she goes through it. It becomes a portal to a castle, and when she's at the castle, she meets 6 other young teens who are in a similar situation to her, and they are all told that there's a key somewhere in this castle, and if they find it, they can get their wish granted, whatever their wish may be, but only one of them can have their wish granted. So at the moment where I'm at in the book, all of them are kind of just like getting used to being around each other, getting used to the idea of this, but they are obviously hoping to find this key so that they can have their wish granted. So far this is really good. I find it very easy to read, absolutely loving it, and I'm so excited to read more. Alright, so I am now on page 152 of the book, and I forgot to mention before, it's just over 350 pages, so I'm nearing the halfway point. Oh, Willow's climbing a tree. I am really enjoying this so far. I'm loving kind of seeing different like cultural differences that I've never maybe really noticed in a Japanese book. Like this is all about junior high students, and there's one part where one of them goes home, and when they come back to the castle, he's dyed his hair like kind of a dark blonde, and they're all like, whoa, and they like start looking at him differently because he did that, and he starts like acting differently a little bit, which I found really interesting. But I'm also really just enjoying their journey of being at the castle. Like sometimes Kokoro will go there a lot, like every single day, and then sometimes she will not go for a week because, something that someone said kind of set her off, or, made her feel less than in some way or another. There isn't really like an adventure aspect to the book, at least not yet. The characters haven't really tried to look for the key, but they haven't really been discussing with each other too much like what their wishes are. So far in the book, they haven't really talked with each other too much about the fact that none of them are going to school, but it is starting to like get revealed at the point that I'm at. And there was also kind of like a plot twist where they found out that one of the people who's there is not actually living in Japan. Like all of them are Japanese, which is another thing that I've been thinking about. Like, are there other castles? Is it just in their imagination? Like there's a lot that is kind of unsaid or unknown right now and may forever be unknown because this is kind of a magical realism book. But that was like a thing that shook them all to their cores because they found out that one of them actually lives somewhere else, and so is like on a is in a different time zone and all that stuff, and so it kind of changes, the whole dynamic of their group and how they all see this particular person. So I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, I still have a little ways to go, so I will hopefully update you guys a couple more times before I finish the book. Right, so I am now about 3/4 of the way through the book. I'm on page 235, and I wanted to give a quick update before I zoom through the rest of the book because I feel like I am about to do that. It's gotten really juicy. It's like the only way I can describe this. It was kind of meandering for a while, but it's gotten to a point where it's like, oh, okay, it's starting to be unveiled, like what is going on, or at least the kids are starting to try and figure out what's going on. They spent a lot of the beginning and middle of the book not really communicating with each other that much and like getting to know each other, and that was their fatal flaw. At this point, they're starting to talk to each other more and they're learning things about each other, and it's showing them patterns, you know, things that are similar between them and etc. So they're starting to like unveil the mystery of the castle and kind of experiment with that. So really enjoying where it's going, and I'm excited but also terrified to see where it goes because I feel like it could go in a very sad direction potentially. Also, I wanted to recommend this to people who love the movie Your Name. I feel like it had some similar vibes going on. So this is the first book I've ever encountered that was kind of similar to it in any way. So I really wanted to give a strong recommendation for this. If you like that or are into like slice of life sci-fi anime at all, this fits the bill. So I just finished the book and I ended up really liking it. I would say it kind of dipped for me a little bit around like the halfway to 3/4 mark. I just kind of felt like the characters weren't communicating with each other enough. If they had just spoken to each other, a lot of things could have been figured out sooner, and a lot of like confusions wouldn't have happened, and so that kind of was a little bit irritating to me, honestly. I also felt like the main character just had certain knowledge that allowed things to happen in the plot that wouldn't have actually happened if she hadn't had this really specific knowledge. So that was kind of bugging me a little bit, but once I got past that and things started to kind of be unveiled a bit more, I really started to get into it. I just wanted to say again how much this felt like an anime. Like, it felt like the type of plot that you would only really ever see in anime, which was really fun. At the beginning, it just kind of seems like magical realism, and there's, you know, the rules of the world aren't really expressly obvious. But as the book goes on, you kind of get to see like everything had a purpose in the castle, which was really cool. So I really ended up enjoying that. So yeah, this is like a solid 4-star read. I would definitely recommend it to people who love anime and who like magical realism, you know, pretty good stuff. So yeah, glad that I finally read this, and thank you so much to Ariel for sending it to me like 2 years ago.
Okay, I just watched Raylene's vlog. First of all, I was obsessed with how truly every shot had a different makeup, hairstyle, and shirt. Like, you clearly did film on different days.
Yeah. It took me a couple of weeks to read it because the problem, like we've talked about this a little bit,
yes,
is that we were reading these books in secret while also just like having to read for the podcast. And so I would read it in like tiny little increments. And so it took me a really long time to get through it, but I ended up really enjoying it, like I said in the vlog.
What a relief. Huh?
I know, right? Because it was also a mashed potato book. Like, I'd been waiting.
Yeah.
So I was like, this book is going to be so good. And like, it's going to break my heart. It's going to do all these things. And so I was so excited and nervous to read it and ended up really enjoying it. So that worked out.
At the end of the vlog, when you said that I gave it to you 2 years ago, I was like, oh my, wow. Like, I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah.
Time really had passed.
Yeah. Because I remember it was for my birthday. And it wasn't last year. It wasn't last year for my birthday. Was just moving at that time. I remember I was at my apartment still when you got me this book. So, I mean, 2 years isn't too bad. I feel like I did pretty good.
No, it's not too bad. But it still doesn't feel like, I felt like that was, I gave you that a year ago, maybe. Like, that's what it feels like in my bones. Yeah. I'm so glad you liked it. I didn't realize that it was such magical realism-y.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that when I gave it to you.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was just thinking, God, that's a pretty cover.
I know.
Like,
it's so good.
It's art. It's art.
It really is.
Okay?
It really is. And actually, there's another cool cover that I feel like doesn't really fit the vibe of the book, but it's, if you just look up alternate covers, I think it's the like Canadian US cover. And it's actually found, like I found it in the fantasy section at Indigo when I went one time, and I was like, what?
Yes, I think you sent that to me.
And it makes it look like a fantasy book. In this book, like, I would say it's more magical realism than it is fantasy, so I feel like that kind of misrepresents it a little bit, but
Yeah.
It's also kind of got a sci-fi aspect, which is kind of
That's
cool.
really interesting.
Yeah. It was really, I know, I was surprised by how it was a lot more complex than I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was just kind of a book about a young girl going through it, you know, being a young person and not having a good time. But it was so much more complicated than that. Like, there were so many, like, background things happening. And like I said, it really did remind me of an anime. Like, it had plot points that I've only ever seen in anime, and, like, world setups that I've only ever seen in anime, which I feel like is a really cool and made it a really cool book.
That is cool. Kind of, and more perfect for you as well, as someone who really loves
it was
anime.
awesome. It was, it was just what I needed.
What a relief. What a relief.
Now I'm really scared about yours.
I was just going to add, interestingly, your vlog and review and everything actually made me want to read it less.
Oh,
because I just didn't, I don't know, I'm like not in the mood for something that's slightly fantasy-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is, I would say it is very much. Like, a lot of the book takes place in this mysterious castle, which is like another world, basically. Like, the main character and these other kids enter into this other world and, like, get to know each other there. But it's like, it's this strange castle that has a mystery. And, like, it is very much more fantastical. Like, I don't think that you would like it, so.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, good to know.
Great. Glad you read it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the book that I picked that you gave me, I instantly knew. When we thought up this idea, I instantly knew it was going to be this one.
Okay.
If only because I knew I could read it quickly.
Yeah. This is fun because I honestly don't remember any of the books I've given you other than Swimming Studies, and I know it's not that one.
I picked A Map to the Sun.
Yeah.
Yes, by Sloan Leong. I don't remember how long ago you gave me this, but I think
it was
it's
episode 100, I think.
No.
It was last time I visited you, Ariel, which was episode 100.
So funny.
That is really, like, I have distinct memories because you wanted books about sports.
Yeah.
So I got you that and Swimming Studies. And then I wanted books about Parasite, and you gave me a couple of books for that.
Yes. Oh,
I'm like an elephant. Okay. I never forget.
You are. Really never forgets, folks. So it's been a while for this book as well, and it's been sitting on my shelf, this beautiful spine, calling out to me ever since you gave it to me. So it was time to finally read it. So now it is time for you to watch my vlog. Hey everyone, for the book I'm reading that Raylene has gifted to me at some point in our relationship, I have chosen Map to the Sun by Sloan Leong. This is a book she gave me last year. Gosh, it might have been 2 years ago. That I think truly does sound right up my alley. It is a graphic novel, which is one of my favorite reading genres, but it's also a book about sport. And it's funny because I don't think of myself as a sporty person. I don't really watch much sport, but I love reading about sport. So I'm very excited to dive in and to give you some updates along the way. Hey everyone, so I've just sat down after a very long day. Very long day. There's two things going on. First of all, I've decided not to read the synopsis, and it's been long enough that I don't remember what Raylene said the book was about. So I obviously know it's about basketball because there's basketball on the front cover here, but other than that, I don't remember. The other thing is, a girl has just come on stage and she's surfing. I've been thinking about trying surfing, which isn't that crazy? I don't seem like a surfing gal. But this is kind of making me feel like I should. Based on these 6 panels where it just looks very pretty indeed. Hello. So I'm at page 151 and I would say like up to page 120, it really didn't have anything to do with sport. It was sort of just establishing a bunch of these female teenage characters who have now been recruited to be a part of a basketball team. So far, I'm feeling like the book is a little dreary. It feels quite sad and hopeless, and I'm finding it pretty stressful to read, actually. They're all quite downtrodden, and I guess I'm hoping that the arc of the book is going to be that the basketball team like brings them a lot of spark and joy into their life, but right now it's a pretty sad book. One thing I wanted to point out was I originally, just through flipping through the book, thought that this color scheme was really beautiful. And it obviously is, just like if you're just looking at one panel or one page or whatever, but it's actually really distracting. I feel like the pages were printed on colorful paper because it affects the color of like the text boxes and stuff. It becomes a little harder to read things. I feel like a lot of the pages look muddy because I can't really see what's going on very clearly. And it also sort of confuses me about which characters are which, because their hair colors are constantly changing, their skin color is constantly changing. And while individually the pages look really stunning, I couldn't figure out why the color palette kept changing. Like, it didn't feel like it was part of the story, so I couldn't tell why it was happening. I finished the book. I finished it last night, and it was super readable, so quick to fly through. A lot of the pages didn't have text on them, so it was easy to just kind of absorb the images and keep on going, a little bit like a movie. I felt like the book had a little bit of a rocky start. I wasn't connecting with the characters very much. I felt like there was a whole plot line that sort of just didn't matter partway through. And then the basketball thing, I was like, this feels like really just plopped in here. I don't get what's going on. But as the book crescendoed, it definitely kind of pulled together for me more. I liked the camaraderie of the team, of the women's basketball team. I will say the color scheme kind of didn't make much sense to me. And also, this book suffered from a thing that I notice a lot in young adult fiction, which is just characters screaming at each other and not ever listening to each other. And it feels like quite forced conflict. Like, it doesn't feel real. It's just like, if you would just listen to the other person, if you would stop shouting or stop running away or stop leaving a room mid-sentence, you would fix this conflict literally right away. So that's always going to be a sticking point for me. But overall, it was a fun journey reading Map to the Sun. So there you have it, Ray. I read Map to the Sun. It was kind of a mix. It was a little bit of a rocky road. Like, there was things that I totally did enjoy and liked, and it really, like, probably my favorite part of the book was the basketball. So, awesome. Like, the sports part was sick, and, like, the montage scenes where you saw them playing basketball and, like, motivating each other and training and all of that, like, I loved that stuff. But then, like I mentioned in the vlog bit, there were some things that I felt like they weren't fully pulled together. Like, I had just read a graphic novel literally the day before, where, well, spoilers for next week, where the author does the thing where it's like, when it's in the past, all of the colors are a bit sepia. Yeah. It's like sepia toned. Or when it's night, the colors are all a bit darker. And so the color scheme and changes impacted the story in a really powerful, beautiful way. But in this book, the colors just, like, I would just flip the page. It wouldn't be a new chapter. It wouldn't be anything, but it would just suddenly, the color scheme would totally change. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand why. I was like, it's cool, but it's not lining up with the story. And, like, obviously it's a graphic novel, so the graphics have to also kind of make sense.
It's true. It's almost like they just were trying to do something different. Yeah. But it didn't necessarily work.
So, yeah, like I said, a bit of a mixed bag, but overall, I did enjoy reading it, and vlogging about it was fun. So it feels good to have another book finished on the old TBR, huh?
Yeah, especially because, like, I feel like do you have a lot of graphic novels unread still on your shelf, or are you kind of powering through
Honestly, not that many.
Yeah.
But I have posted some videos on Patreon, some vlogs of books I've been reading.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen those?
I haven't watched them, but I saw that they went up.
Do you know what books they are?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay.
I do indeed.
That's no problem. We'll talk about those on the episode next week. Those are the books I'll be reviewing probably next week. But when I posted those, I had somebody request that I do that, like, next month's video be a video of my graphic novel collection. And so I'm gonna do that for Patreon, and I'm like, that'll be a chance for me to count, because I don't know how many graphic novels I have. I don't know how many of them are read versus unread. I feel like I've read most of them, but it would be good to know. Yeah,
it would be good to know.
Well, I love that we did that, and it was kind of fun too, because like the whole time I was reading it, I was thinking about you. I was like, Raylene bought me this book, so it felt like a very podcasty thing to do. Now, let's talk about the other book we read.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So, we thought it would be fun to do a buddy read. Because we've noticed that whenever we do buddy reads, they're always fun to talk about on the podcast. It's enjoyable to record together, like talking about the same book. So we want to try sprinkling more of these in, and we thought, what would be a better choice than Bren the Broken? No, what would be a better choice than My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante?
Got it.
And I do feel like you have the
superior
cover.
copy. And this is also a book that you bought me too, so it was like...
And you bought me this!
Oh, I did?
Do you remember you got this at a thrift store or something?
I remember. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, who did I buy that book for? Like, I remembered buying that.
It was me.
That's so... Did I, like, mail it to you? Or did I bring it to you?
I think you may... I don't remember.
I don't remember. Like, I don't remember sending it to you. I remember buying it, but I don't remember sending it.
Maybe you brought it when you came here or something, but I definitely remember
extra
you...
cute then.
I know. I didn't realize that until I, like, physically started reading it. Okay, so as a little promo, all right, it's a plug. I'm doing a plug.
Okay.
We did make a double vlog. Is that a thing? We did a double vlog. So basically, you know, me and Raylene didn't talk while we were reading it because we're going to talk about our thoughts here on the pod. But we did vlog on our own independently, and we're going to stitch that together into one big vlog, and that'll go on the Patreon. So if you want a reading vlog of how our journey was with this book, you can check that out. But Raylene, give it to me straight. What did you think?
Well, this is how I feel, and I feel like you might be feeling similarly. I did not like this book at all.
I don't get the hype.
I was so
get
freaking confused. So I sat down and I decided I wanted to read this book all in one day because I was like, you know what? I just want to kind of move on to whatever my next reading is, and it'll probably be a quick read. It'll be great, blah, blah, blah. First of all, I didn't find it interesting at all, but my main problem with the book is that these girls were not friends.
They're not friends!
They weren't even friends.
I completely agree with you. Okay, so first of all, on my cover, it says a quote, one of the great novelists of our time, right? I was like, oh, good Lord, like, we're really hyping this thing up. Look, Louise Wise says, Elena Ferrante has established herself as the foremost modern writer in Italy and in the world.
Oh my goodness. On my copy, there's a quote from The Guardian that just says, nothing quite like it has ever been published. Very dramatic.
I'm like, it's like the hype on this book is insane, right? Like, all I ever hear about it is crazy good things. Everyone's always praising it. But then also, like you say, I've seen a lot of quotes about the friendship. Like, this one on the back says, an intense forensic exploration of the friendship between Lila and Elena. Like, it's like talking about how it's about this friendship. I beg to differ.
Yeah, I would
differ.
actually say they are the opposite of friends. Like, it was so irritating. So, I mean, for context, this book is about like a small town.
I'm so glad we feel the same.
I'm so glad. I knew you would. When I was reading it, I was like, Ariel's not gonna like this either. Like,
when I was reading, I was like, Raylene's not liking this one. This is not a Raylene book.
It's no good. It's not our vibe. But yeah, it's like about this small community. There's lots of characters. There's actually like a cast of characters at the beginning of my copy that explains who all the different families are and everything.
That was a bad sign. When I opened up the book and it was like
a fantasy novel,
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I didn't even like make an effort to like differentiate all the people. I was like, you know what? I don't care enough to do that. But you've got the main character whose name is also Elena, like the author's name, and she's in school or whatever. And there's this girl named Lila, whatever her name was. And they kind of are like competing with each other almost. Like they're always jealous of each other. If one of them has success in school, the other one is suddenly like, oh, I have to get back at them and I have to be better than her. And they're constantly playing this game of like trying to one-up each other.
Yes.
And through that, I feel like they could have become friends.
Yes.
But they didn't. Like they just, they didn't. They were constantly at each other's throats, even when they were getting older. Like, because the story kind of follows them from the age of like, I don't know, 10 to like 17 or something like that. And so it's their coming of age years. And at the very beginning of the book too, actually, you kind of get to see into the future, and you know that this story is going to like cover their whole lives until they're like in their 60s or whatever. Yes. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, this will be like a really interesting beginning to show how they became friends. That will become this lasting friendship. But I feel like they never became friends in this book at all.
No. So I after I read it and everything, and I was doing some research, I decided to watch the trailer for the show.
Oh, interesting.
Because I didn't realize, like, I didn't remember that there was a show. It says here on YouTube that the trailer for the first season of the show came out 4 years ago. So I guess it's been out for a while.
I think there's 3 seasons now.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And one of the comments really stood out to me, and I'm trying to find it. Is it this one? No. Yeah, okay. So first of all, this comment says, my favorite moment in the entire story is when Leela tells Elena that she's her brilliant friend. Because up to that point, the story had framed Lila as the brilliant friend. So that moment shows you that in the end, the brilliance is more about the eyes that see it and not the person. And I was like, literally, this is so interesting because I can't find why this book is called My Brilliant Friend. They didn't like each other.
Yeah.
And then the other comment on this under this trailer, the one that really stood out to me, Raylene, was this one. Only after reading all of the books can you really appreciate Leela. She's the most powerful, fascinating, loving character ever written.
What?
And I was like, okay, this kind of speaks to one of my main problems. When you start the book, it's like present day.
Yeah.
Like for present day for when the book came out, like 2010 or something. So it's present day and the characters are like in their 60s. We have the main character. She gets a phone call. This is like the first page. Yeah. She gets a phone call from her best friend's son. And her son is like, my mom is missing. Do you know where she is?
Yeah.
And the main character goes, my best friend. It all started when harp sound, harp sound, harp sound. And we go back to their childhood. And I'm like, okay, so that's the frame narrative. The frame is the 60-year-old has gone missing. And we're going to like get clues from the childhood to be like, where is she? Literally, you guys, the book never goes back to when they're 60.
I was so mad about that.
It's completely unresolved.
Yeah.
And so I look it up. Really, it does not get resolved until the 4th book in the series.
Yeah, that was something I was thinking while I was reading this. I was like, okay, obviously you're supposed to read it as a quartet. You're supposed to read all 4. But I didn't like this one enough to even care about the next one.
That's so funny because I said that in my vlog. In my vlog, I'm like, guys, I am not going to be reading the next book.
No. Which was kind of a relief almost, because I was like, if I loved this book, I would have had to buy 3 more books, and I would have had to read those. So I feel set free a little bit.
One of my thoughts about this book was like, it's clearly trying to do something that a lot of authors have done, but that I would say was like really perfected, I suppose, by 100 Years of Solitude. So kind of the idea of like a giant generational family saga. Really fleshing out generations of characters and people that they know and that live together and affect each other in a village. And it's like very rural, small town vibes and like sprawling, I guess. But like sprawling and detailed.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was doing that, but I never connected to any of it. I didn't care about the town. I didn't care about the people. I didn't care. And so I kept reading and reading and reading. And at one point, I literally, Raylene, had to get the audiobook because I could not
I was listening to the audiobook
myself
too.
To care.
Yeah. I was listening to it while reading along so that I could read it faster.
Same. Oh my God. Yeah. I was like, what were we doing? We were living the same life because I was doing the same thing. I was like, I'm going to listen to the audiobook on like quick speed because more to my reading pace, and I'll just read the book as I go along. That was the only way I could push through it.
Yeah, me too.
And I was just like, I'm bored. I don't care about these characters. I didn't find them I didn't want to root for them. I didn't care like about their friendship.
Yeah, they were just mean to each other, and like
they were so
I felt
mean.
Like the relationships that were focused on in the book more so than their friendship was just like their relationships with these random guys, and it was kind of like about them getting boyfriends and then kind of still competing with each other. Like it wasn't even about school anymore. It was just like who's better.
And even all of the school stuff, I was like, why are we going so detailed into every time that she finished a semester, she would be like, so here are the classes I took and here are the grades that I got. And I only got an 8 in Latin that year. So I had, and I'm like, Why?
It was weird. Yeah, it was so weird. It was just not our vibe. Like, I'm sure that there's there's got to be a reason why so many people love this book, and it just wasn't for us, like, at all.
That's so interesting. Yeah, it just did not click for me. I didn't end up liking it. I feel like I would give it like the lowest 3 stars to maybe 2-star range.
Yeah, I would say 2. Like, I didn't hate it outright, which is the only time I ever give something a 1 star, but it was just like, it didn't have anything for me. It didn't have anything that I could really take away from it and enjoy about it, which was unfortunate.
Hot damn.
I'm just glad we agreed. I feel like
me too.
This is actually a funny experiment, because usually when we buddy read a book and are like talking about it while we're reading it, we always end up feeling the same.
We always feel the same.
We have the same feelings, and I've always wondered if we're just like feeding off of each other's energy or something. But this time
we're texting each other.
Yeah, this time we had no connection. I didn't even know when you were reading this book. Like, we have not talked about it one bit. So it's really funny that we just had the same feeling, which is so interesting because you and I often have different reading tastes. Like, I don't understand.
It aligned on My Brilliant Friend, my unfortunate friend. I didn't understand why they cared about each other so much. No. Like, I was like, you guys have nothing in common. You don't like each other. You're mean to each other. Mm-hmm. You're competitive towards one another. I'm like, give it up. Find a better friend. Just Carmela seemed nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we read it, though. Well, it felt good to have read it.
I completely agree. I do like that I now know what is going on. And I will say it really, really, really made me want to read Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah.
Because that's another book set in the Italian, like, rural countryside, but more modern. Timmy is in it. Yeah. I hear Timmy's in the book.
He's in the book as well, yeah.
So I think that would be fun. All right. Well, I guess we have nothing else to say.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of that.
It's kind of funny. But it's now time for us to do our Q&A. So
yes.
Thank you so much to all of the patrons that submitted questions. We picked out some of our favorites, but / the ones that we felt like were the best for the episode. Mm-hmm. So our first question comes from Abby.
Hello, Raylene and Ariel. Long-time listener, first-time caller. What authors would you like to see a Hollywood biopic made about, and who would you cast in it? Okay, thanks, bye.
This one was kind of fun to think about because it could have gone in so many different directions, but I decided that I would like a movie about John and Hank Green.
Oh my god.
Because not only are they authors, they're interesting dudes that have done so many interesting things. And then there's the whole dynamic of them being brothers as well, which is really cool. Abby also asks, who would we cast? I could not think for the life of me who we would cast as John and Hank Green, because I would want, like, I don't know, young versions of them. So,
okay, yeah.
You know, I'm imagining, like, their whole story from the beginning of, you know, when they were kids, and like I would want their whole story. So I don't know who I would cast. If you guys have ideas, I would love to hear them, because that would be fun to imagine people cast as John and Hank Green. But I just thought that would be a fun movie.
Yeah, that sounds sick, actually. I love that idea.
Right?
I think I would love a movie about, I couldn't pick between these two authors, so whatever. Lucy Maud Montgomery, first of all, because she lived in a really interesting time, like period drama-esque. It'll be set in the early 1900s, which is very cool. But then she also lived in rural Canada in that period. And I'm like, how many movies do we have about that?
Yeah, like none.
One. Like, literally the only depiction is Anne of Green Gables. So I think it would be really, really cool. Not only that, but like, I think it would be really inspirational to see, like, a woman in that time period becoming an author in Canada, like doing everything that she had to do to become a published author.
Yeah.
I think that would be so awesome. So I would pick that for sure. So I would definitely watch the heck out of that movie, and I would cast Keira Knightley.
Of course. Why not?
Because I love Keira Knightley. And then the other one is obviously Orwell. I would love a biopic about Orwell. He is a really interesting person, and I think it could be a lot of fun. Actually, it'd probably be really dreary. He died when he was 46, so that's pretty dark, of tuberculosis, bringing John Green back into the equation here. But yeah, I think, who would I cast? I guess Timothée Chalamet.
Pick anyone. Just pick your favorites.
It doesn't matter if they look like them. Just
I'll take it back. I would cast Saoirse Ronan as Hank Green and Florence Pugh as John Green.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question comes from Lissy. Says,
hi Ariel and Raylene, congratulations on 200 episodes. This is so exciting. So my question for you guys is, if there was one food that you had to pick that you have to eat for 200 weeks straight, no other foods allowed during that time, just this one, what food would you pick and why?
When I read this question, I was like, why 200? And then I just realized, of course, it's because this is episode 200. I was like, that's such a specific number.
It's so funny because I thought the same thing. I was like, that's a really random number, Lissy. I don't know.
That's funny. Okay, well,
so it's like since we started the podcast to now. Oh, no, wait. It's weeks, isn't it? Anyways,
Anywho,
what food would you choose?
I don't know if this is cheating, but I just wanted to pick like a broad category. And so I decided that my food would be wraps, meaning that I could have a lettuce wrap, I could have a burrito, I could have a taco, anything that could be wrapped up.
Something in a tortilla.
Yeah, that's what I picked because I think
foods.
that's my favorite. That's my go-to. It's just like anything in a tortilla or in a little lettuce wrap, some like crispy tofu with some veggies.
So I'm assuming that like we'll get the nutritional balance that we need. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you could just eat a cheese pizza for 200 weeks and you'd be okay.
Right, and I'd be fine. Yeah. So in that spirit, I would choose Miss Vicky's salt and vinegar chips.
You're an animal. God,
I love those chips. They're so good.
Why am I surrounded by people who love those chips? Those are also Kyle's favorite chips, and I hate them.
They're so crunchy. They're so sour. They're so salty. I could eat them 5 ever. I choose them. Thank you.
Wow.
I also really like the new flavor that they're doing, spicy dill pickle.
Oh, I love those.
But I can literally only have like 2 or 3 chips, and then I'm like spiced out.
You don't do spicy. You're not a big spicy.
No, I'm so bad at spice, but it's a delicious flavor.
It's so good.
Okay. Our next question comes from Jillian.
Hi, guys. Whenever I recommend your podcast to friends, I kind of panic and describe it like 2 kooky Canadians talking about books and falling in whales. How do you feel about that? And would you prefer to be described differently?
I have to say, I think I love that description because I feel like it's short to the point. And I mean, Ariel's only fallen in a well once, but it is like a big part of it. I feel like weird things keep happening to us like that. I mean, mostly to you, falling off of things, but I feel like we are just a couple of kooky gals.
That's so funny. The other day I was hanging out with a friend, and I was like, yeah, that happened like right after I fell off that balcony. And she was like, you fell off a balcony? I was like, didn't I tell you about that? She was like, no. I was like, oh.
You don't listen to my podcast, clearly.
Yeah, you're not tuned into the pod. I think that's a pretty good description. When people ask me like what the podcast is about, the way I describe it to people is like, it's me and my best friend every week talking about what we read. And then they ask me, do you guys read the same thing? Every single time people ask me that. Isn't that interesting? And I'm like, oh, no. No. We just like are on our own reading lives, but every week we check in with each other. We're like accountability buddies.
Can you imagine if we had to read the same?
Yeah, that would be really stressful. It'd probably be a better show because we'd like be having these big discussions.
We are a lot more engaged when we're talking about the same books. We could talk about it for an entire hour probably.
But I think we'd be really unhappy because we hate reading things when we're told to read them. You'd never read fantasy again?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, our next question comes from Carissa.
Hello, Ariel and Raylene. My question for you is, what is the most important thing that you've gained since starting this podcast together? Is it a sense of community? Is it a greater friendship? What would you say is the biggest thing that you have gained since the beginning of the podcast?
All right, Raylene, what are your gains?
My gains. Oh my gosh. Well, I think the thing first and foremost is that I feel like we've become better friends because of doing the podcast.
It's true.
Because like you've probably said before, but like having to sit down and talk with each other every week is like such a gift, and not something that I do with my friends that actually live close to me. Like I don't see my other friends as frequently as I see you, and so I feel like this podcast has made us better friends than you know. We've spent so much time together now, and we will like after we're done recording, we'll be like, hey, do you want to like play a game later, or do you want to watch a movie or something? So we hang out more than just when we're recording, of course. But yeah, I think that's the main thing. But the sense of community has been really good too. Like that's something that I've missed, because back in the day, over a decade ago, when you and I were both YouTubing, I feel like our community was so like little and kind of niche, and then BookTube got huge and kind of lost this sense of community that it had at the beginning, and that kind of made me sad. But I feel like this podcast has its own community, which I really like. Like it's not a broad like every book podcast person is talking to each other. It's just like our people, and they know us really well, which I think is really cool. And like we get really great recommendations from our patrons and our listeners, and so I just feel like the sense of community is definitely like awesome and something that I cherish about this whole thing.
I agree with everything you said. I guess I would also add, this is kind of, I'm like, is this a little weird to add? But it's honest. It's honest. It's given me a real sense of one big element of economic stability, because so much of my job, like I'm fully self-employed, I work for myself. So much of my job is very variable. So it's like, will I get paid this month? Maybe not. But with the podcast, because we show up every week, we post an episode every week, and we like show up to the Patreon every month. It's got like this really important stability that I love. That's important. I take it really seriously. Like I'm like every Monday, I'm like, we're sitting down and record the show. I need to take my photos for the Instagram. I need to do my vlog for the thing. Like it's like very important to me that we show up for it, because I'm so grateful that it's a big part of my living, which is awesome.
Well, that's a good answer.
So I really love that. And I think the main thing truly is just getting to talk with you all the time is just the best. Okay. Our next question comes from Glenda Lee.
Hi, Ariel and Raylene. My name is Glenda Lee, and I'm from New York. And my question is, where do you see the podcast in 5 years?
Well, we're definitely going to be doing it still, first of all. That's a given. I think moving forward, what I could foresee is that we will maybe be able to like hang out more and maybe do more like in-person events for the podcast, which is cool, because that's something we've been talking about for a while, and like maybe going on tour and like, you know, doing multiple live shows. I think that's like something that's been a goal for us for a while, so I could definitely see that will have happened at least once in the next 5 years, but hopefully we'll just be kind of like more what we do. But other than that, I think just like really finessing our setup and like you know, the whole show itself. Like if there's anything that's not working, we'll have taken it out and replaced it with something else. And like I think in the next 5 years we will have reached like peak what the show can be, you know? That's kind of the way I like to look at it.
I really agree. I was recording a voicemail for my own Patreon, not the podcast, for my own one, and I was talking about like we're recording our 200th episode. Like how crazy is that? And I was kind of just doing some reflections on the whole thing. And one of the things that I brought up in earnest was like, one of my favorite things about the podcast is that even though we're 4 years in, we've really not settled. Like we're like, wait, this segment isn't very good anymore. Like we should trade it out for something new, or, you know, it would actually be a lot of extra work to do the video episodes, but they're going to do so much more for the community and for new viewers, and it's so we should do that. Or we've got this new idea for the thing and we should do that. And so I feel like you and I are constantly trying to make it a better show. And that I love that, because we're not like settling. We're not like, of course the basic concept is always going to be the same. You and me talk for an hour about the books we read, but we're trying to make it better and better and better, and finessing it and rolling with the times. And we're like, this doesn't really work anymore. That doesn't really work anymore, whatever. I love that. But I agree, like, to answer the question of like, where will we be in 5 years? I think we'll still be doing the show, which is one of the things I love about the show. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a deadline on it. It doesn't feel like it's going to run out or something. I'm like, we keep reading stuff, so we can keep talking about it.
It's endless content at this point.
All right, our next question comes from Diana.
Hi, Raylene and Ariel. Congratulations on 200 episodes of my favorite podcast ever. My question for you both is, what is your favorite thing about one another? I really love the podcast. Thank you. Bye.
What do you think? What do you love about me?
What do you think? Well, there's a lot of things I love about you, but I think what I would say is my favorite thing is that you're just always like trying to improve both yourself personally but also professionally. Like you're always coming up with ideas of what can I do next? What's something that I can do to like, I mean, for example, doing the podcast. Like you came up with this idea for us to hang out every week. You made that happen. This wouldn't have happened without you. And I love that that's just how you are. You're always like, what can I do next? How can I make it better? How can I like have fun and make money and hang out with my friend? Like you're thinking about everything all at once, and like I just have so many ideas that I would never even think to do, and it ends up being just like great every time.
I love that.
So I love
Thanks,
that.
buddy.
You're welcome.
I think that I would pick how grateful I am for your reliability. This is very important. And we talk about this a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like you're the admin queen and I'm the ideas man.
Exactly.
That's what we've said.
Exactly. It's what we
because I'm always having fun, and it matters to me to like be innovating and thinking of new ideas. Like, what can we do for merch? What if we do this for the Patreon? What if we do? But if you're not there to be like, okay, like you said, like we said at the beginning of this episode, if you're not there to count down to episode 200, my ideas won't get done in time.
They won't make sense.
And
It won't work. Yeah.
If you don't message me and say, Ariel, you're supposed to send this thing, I won't send the thing.
Yeah.
So your reliability is like the anchor keeping this thing working.
It's true.
Because otherwise it just would be a giant mess. And yeah, I'm super grateful for your ability to organize us and keep us on track and like be the person who is reliable. That is very beautiful. Important.
I love that.
That's why we work.
Yep.
Because we've got both.
Yep. We gotta have both.
All right. Our final question comes from Leonie.
Hi Ariel, hi Raylene. Thank you so much for letting us be part of this special episode. My question is, what your most favorite cherished moment within the podcast episode is? That could be like a fun recording or a trip you two made, anything like that.
I couldn't pick just one thing, so I have a small list. So
great.
Let me take you back to the early days. One of my favorite things we did was we had a debate about deckled edges.
Oh my god, so
that
true.
was
Iconic.
hilarious. And we wanted to make that into a series, but then we couldn't think of something else that we disagreed on as like heartily as we did about that. So I think that that's just like a funny part of our history, is that we argued about deckled edges for like half an hour and then never did that again. I really loved that. That's awesome. I also really loved our series of revenge plots. I know I kind of mentioned it earlier that we wanted to bury the hatchet, but it was hilarious when it was happening.
Funny,
like,
it was
I betrayed you, you punished me, you betrayed me, I punished you. It was very funny. I felt like it added a lot of drama to the podcast, which we don't often have. So I don't know, maybe we can come up with something else like that soon. The other things that I thought were very funny are like when you fell in a well. That was kind of a funny moment for you to talk about. And then that time when my fire alarm went off while we were recording.
Yes,
that was pretty crazy.
That was wild.
And then the last thing that's one of my favorites is just every time we do a late night recording session.
Yes.
It's so funny every time. Like,
it's so funny.
I don't know how it comes across to the people listening, but I have the best time when we do that, because we're both just like loopy. It's like end of the day,
Raylene
I can
brings
say
the
whatever
wine
I
out.
want. Like, I don't know, it feels more free for some reason.
It's true. I think we're just tired,
Yeah.
and then we're like, time to be
tired is
performers,
funny.
and the combo is like funny.
Yeah.
I love all of those. I also was gonna mention the fire alarm because I just remembered like that episode was such a mess.
Yeah.
I personally really remember recording when I moved here. I would record in the car.
Oh my gosh.
Do you
so
remember
much.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was weeks, months, I don't know. I think it was just weeks, but where I recorded in the car and it was just night and I was just sitting
It was just
in
dark.
my
Like, I couldn't see Ariel. She was
no,
just
you
a
couldn't
voice.
see me. Because I wasn't going to have the Jeep on because that would be loud for the audio. And so I would just be sitting in my dark Jeep.
Talking about books.
Next to the house I just bought that I was just like, couldn't leave because we were doing quarantining. Oh my God, what a
that was the whole
time.
thing.
What a time. The main memory that came to me instantly when I read this question was not while we were recording, but I really remember where I was when I asked you to do the podcast.
Really?
Yeah. So I think people know this, but basically I had thought up this idea of doing a book podcast because obviously I've been making book videos for a long time, but I felt that the art of reviewing books was kind of going away from YouTube. Definitely. People just don't watch those videos, and that's fine. But I felt like it could work in podcast form because I was like, podcasting is all about like going on the tangents and it doesn't have to be flashy. Like you're just talking about the book you read. Sure. So I thought that would be a thing I would want to try. So I recorded a couple episodes of Books Unbound. And the reason it's called Books Unbound is because my original YouTube channel, when I started making videos when I was 16 in 2011, was called Books Unbound. And so then a year into me having a YouTube channel, I had to start a new channel and I had to call it, I called it Ariel Bissett.
Yeah.
But I always loved that username.
I missed it. Oh man.
Right? Yeah. So many years later, when I was starting the podcast, I was like, what should I call the podcast? And I was like, I could call it Books Unbound. Like I could bring that great username back. So that's where the username comes from. But I then recorded a few episodes and released them. But it was just me, Raylene. It was like these deep dive episodes of me reviewing books. And so a whole 40 minutes would just be about one book or whatever. Interesting. It was not a very good show. Like it was fine, but it wasn't like, I realized that I needed a person. I needed a co-host. And I instantly was like, I need to bring Raylene out of retirement. Because by this time, you had retired. You had stopped making videos. And you and I were still friends, but we weren't that close anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Because we didn't... The thing that made us close before was YouTube. Like, we would comment on each other's videos. This is what I'm talking about. Like, the community was so tight and cute. There was, like, maybe 10 of us who were all super good pals. And we would just, like, comment on each other's videos and, like, hang out, play Minecraft. That was something we used to do every now and then.
A lot of Minecraft.
But yeah, and then once I stopped making videos, that kind of fell apart a little bit.
Which makes sense because you just weren't in the space that I was in as much. And so we were still friends. We were still chums. And I remember I was living in Ottawa. I was living in Quebec at the time. And so I remember having this idea, thinking it over lots and lots and lots, and being like, I just think Raylene would be really good. We would have fun, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to call her, which I never do. We never call.
What is she doing?
Even now we don't call, which is funny.
We only call when something really special has happened.
And it's weird. Like if my phone is ringing and it's Raylene, I'm like, what's happening? Yeah. She got engaged. What's going on? Like it's got to be something weird. Yeah. But yeah, I remember I was behind my house. There was like kind of like a little walk down from my house. There was this field and a hockey rink. And my boyfriend and my brother were playing soccer, and I was sitting at a picnic table. It was dusk. God, I remember the moment so clearly. And I called you, and I was like, I have a proposition. I want to make this podcast. I think you should be my co-host, and I promise that if you do it with me, we'll have fun and we'll make money.
Yep, that's what she said. It's true.
That was my way to get you on. And you were like, okay. And so then we started recording a few weeks later, and now here we are 4 years later.
Yep.
So that is my main memory, and I love that as a place to end this episode.
That's beautiful.
Damn. Okay. Everyone, thank you so much for 200 eps. That's just crazy. Yeah, obviously, seriously. We would have given up if no one was listening. Yeah. So just talk through the void.
Right?
We could just call each other and play a game, I guess.
That's
right?
True.
Like we wouldn't have recorded it. So thank you so much to everyone for the 200 eps. We're so excited to keep doing episodes with you guys, for you guys, and for all of the things that are to come. We're going to go record our Patreon mini podcast, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Bye.